Welcome, sports fans. We are back. 400-meter hurdles. As with all hurdles, camera angle changes on this one. So we've obviously got the view from behind. You can argue whether you like it or you don't. I think you just have to get used to it. One of my tips is if you really want to do really well at hurdles, you probably need to spend the 10 gems and do hurdles a few times in a row, just because a lot of the hurdle events are rhythm. This one, probably less so. This one we can just play it by ear and see how we go. Very much though, we've got 10 hurdles to go after. I think the last two, maybe three of the blue line ones, very similar to the 110. So we're in the 110, you have standard jumping patterns, and then you get to the end and it just speeds up a little bit. So your rhythm has to obviously just change as you get into the race. We see the same in 400 meters, where the rhythm will change as we get to the end. We're going to be pressing slightly quicker, but because of the 400 meters having obviously a bit of running space in between hurdles, we don't massively notice it as much. So the start. Now I have started to notice something, and I need to do more testing, because currently I don't know if this is the case in every race that I've seen. But if we look at we've got obviously the two moving advertising hoardings, three if you include the one far in the distance. But this nearest one, where we can see it's got, it's a square, it's got the yellow focus news on it. If we watch that, what's going to happen is the black advert, the key, once that fills up the entire board, that's when we would hit go. So let's just watch it here and we'll keep an eye on it. There's the black key, and there, see, just as it becomes fully, let's go back and just quickly show. So you can see there it is fully done, and it's immediately going to say go straight away afterwards. The only downside to this, of using this, and we can see the advertising boarding further along actually is also on the same alignment. Lane 5, probably not the best lane, because we're blocking the entire view. Lane 4, it would be, we're a bit further back, so you'd get full visibility. 6, we might get it in the right hand corner, but it would be closer to the one ahead. 7 and 8 should be absolutely fine. So lane 5, if we're going to use that as the noticeable marker to denote when to press and get perfect, lane 5 actually turns into a terrible lane, because it's blocking. It largely becomes the worst lane, and we'd have to see what the angle looks like from lane 1. And I think this is one of the things you really start to notice across all the events. Your lane that you get, it does impact how well you typically do in a race. Traditionally, things like lane 1 isn't great, apart from, if we're doing this event, lane 1's not terrible, because it's from behind, it follows you the whole way round. But the lane 1 on the 100 meters, it's a fixed camera angle from behind. Doesn't really help. And it's harder on 100 meters, etc. It just changes the angle. So typically the inside lanes aren't great. Outside lanes largely are good. You'll know from my video on 110, I am not a big fan of lane 8 and 110. I don't know if it's psychological or not, but we will see. So let's just start the race and go through. Here we go. We're approaching the first hurdle. Now, first hurdle is very important. I've just paused that at the perfect place, pretty much. Now, I get a good on this one. I don't get a perfect. You really need to get perfect on the first hurdle. I find it might be a bit psychological, but it sets you up for the full day. Sets you up for the full day. No, the full race, I meant. I don't think you can get more than one or two goods max. Let's see how we go. I'm yawning again. Something about these videos, it makes me yawn. So as we see, we only want one or two goods max. This is a race where, I'm just going to pause it here as we go down the home straight. This is a race where typically if you run a perfect race, you will win 99 times out of 100. A lot of track events, if you run a perfect race, you win. There are slight exceptions to the rule. Occasionally on sprints, you get a ridiculous time by the competitor, or normally 10,000 meters and marathon. When you get to the final lap, you somehow you've gone from competing against a marathon runner in the preview to all of a sudden them doing some type of relay handover to Michael Johnson, and he goes and runs his world record 400 meter time as he zooms past you, and you've got no way of keeping up whatsoever. But yeah, 400 meter hurdles, typically a race, 99 times out of 100, run it perfect, you win. So here we go, going around the top bend, and again, we're just trying to get perfects as we go around. I try not to include just perfect runs when I do these. Some of it, if I know I'm shooting for a video, I'm not that fussed over whether I get perfects or not. I will try, don't get me wrong, but I'm not massively fussed. I won't go and reshoot the video. Reason why I've slowed it down here is, if we just look here, if we go back a slight bit, let's do it from back here. So we can see this tiny little blue tinge is starting to appear. This means it's going to run a little bit quicker, but only if we hit perfect. Look at the rest of them go. The blue tinge is there. Another good. See, you don't catch up. Now I hit a perfect, hopefully. No, it's another good. And look, you just don't catch up. And then we want to hit the dip for the line. The dip for the line, it can be a 0.1, 0.2 say, well, maybe not 0.2, but it can be a 0.1 saving. A good dip versus no dip. Yeah, definitely tested that and tried a few. It's quite hard to do the variables are too much on most of the races. You've got both start and you would have to hit the start at the exact same time. When you get to the yellow markers, you'd have to hit that in exactly the same place. And a tap and hold, you'd have to do that in the exact same. It's very hard to do direct comparisons, just because too many variables. When we look at this, we put the dip for the line in. What we've got there, 51.5. We can see our personal best is 51.066. I'm pretty sure that's also a season's best as well. Not far away from that national record. Not far away from the world record. We've got a couple of more items we need to upgrade. But, as you can see, it's a fairly self-explanatory. There's no rocket science that's associated to this. Go round, get over the jump, perfect start. Try and use the advertising boarding. Hopefully that's going to remain as a bit of a marker, and that's going to help you. And then it's just going to be your timing of getting it right. There isn't an exact science. I reckon there's probably a way you can count in between. Do you know what? Let's have a look. Let's try and find a theory right now. We're going to do it over these two jumps here. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. No, I don't think you can. There will be a way, or you can count the seconds. The legs are moving slightly too quick for me to be able to. There's probably an exact number. Yeah, there probably is an exact number there. That's going to take a bit of working out. If you watch the right leg. Yeah, no, that switched to the left leg there. Yeah, I think you're going to struggle to sort of get that count in between. I don't think it's massively going to be beneficial, but keep going. Put in the comments if you've got different ways of doing it. If you can find better ways, again, stick it in the comments. Let's get those out there. Let's go and test them. If you've got another theory, I'm more than willing to go and do and test. Shoot the video on it, and then we can do that comparison. Let's have a look at if we think it's good. So let's leave it there. Thanks for joining. Thanks for watching till now. Obviously, stick those likes in, put the subscribes, and if you've got some views, put them in the comments. Thank you. Bye.